Hello everyone, welcome back to Virtual Lab Infra once again in my Windows Server training series. Today's session, we are going to discuss what is server, why do we need it. So before we understand this, let's understand what is work group and what is domain. So when there is a small organization or a lab, we use certain computers connected with network switch. And let's say these are the five PCs, PC 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, connected with one of the switch via LAN cables. So now, if somebody wants to log in, let's say user 1 has logged into this computer and he can work he can work on this computer only. If user 2 logs in this computer, he has to create a account user 2 and password, then he can log in this computer. Similarly, user 3, 4, and 5, they need to create one by one their accounts, and they can log in and they can make their work happen. But when it comes user, let's say this PC goes down or this PC got corrupted. If user wants to work on something urgent and he wants to log into any of other computer, he cannot do that until unless we go ahead and create one more account for user 1, create his user account password, and then he can log in, but the data will be lost just because this is a work group. It's just the connectivity happens, but he cannot log in and create his login and work on any of the previous data. That is where, and to manage this user accounts and password, every time you have to log into this PC and reset the password or create a new account. So managing all these things, creating an account every time, resetting a password, logging with only that computer, it's actually a tedious task for somebody who wants or who works for daily basis for some critical task or critical activity. If if we want to manage more than thousand of computer, will you be able to do so? No, because you cannot go ahead and create account for each and every computer for thousand of computers, make their accounts created. When somebody wants to reset password, they have to find out which computer has account which is not working and you have to reset. So basically work group is for home network actually, which is just connected via LAN cable. Like if you might have seen in college, for lab purpose they use it, but to make them happen for n number of computers, maybe 500, 700, or 1000, then it fails actually. You cannot manage those many computer just connecting those in LAN cable through your switch network. Then what happens? Then your Windows server comes in the picture. So what exactly Windows server does? So let's do one thing. So let's say again, this is my switch. There are multiple computers are connected. It could be, for just randomly I'm giving sort of computers, and there is a server. We will connect one server with this network and will communicate with all the computers. So this is my server computer. Now, what exactly server does? So this is my domain for large or organization network. So these are my PCs. PC 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or it could be a number of PCs. So what happens now? What server will do? What I will do? I will make this Windows server as Active Directory domain services. Like we will install certain roles, ADDS role, DNS role, DSCP role. We'll talk about all this thing in later on the videos. Just understand what server actually does, what happens when we manage via server, not directly to the computers. So we'll install certain roles and make this server to communicate with all the computers. When I say communicate with all the computer, it just doesn't mean if you connect the LAN cable, you will able to manage all this computer. So there is something called domain actually, which is domain is nothing but it's a it's a type of communication thing for computers to understand whenever there is a query goes from the computer or the request server understand, okay, so this computer belongs to same domain. Let's say domain could be anything like microsoft.com or virtuallabinfra.com. So these are the domains. When your server is hosted on that particular domain and you join them, join each other, join all the computer with the same domain, it will able to communicate with each other. And whenever there is a request, let's say somebody, so let's say in server we have created a users, uh, how many users you want to create, you can create a users, you can create a security groups, you can create certain roles, and with that user accounts you can log into any of the computer. It doesn't need PC1, only user one should log in. So either user one can log into PC1, 2, 3, 4, any computer, just because the user accounts is stored in server and it's able to communicate with all the computers. Now similarly, this server not only can allow you to log in all the computers with the user accounts created here, also you can manage a lot of settings, policies, you can apply a lot of group policies to this computer, you can make the server to supply IP address to all these computers. So that is where the server comes in. So now somebody wants to reset their password. They don't need to go to computer and reset it. Instead, he will ask a IT person to reset my password because I forgot my password or I'm unable to log in with that account. So IT admin will log into server. He will reset his password in Active Directory. Now the user will able to log into the computers. Similarly, if in your organization you want to uh, uh, share some files, you can create a share file shares in your server. So basically we'll discuss about that file shares and everything. So this computer can access that share, this computer, so all the computer can access that share and they can keep their critical data, and they can whenever they need it they can access from that computer. So this is how server comes in and able to manage your all the computers objects, your active user accounts and all the resources. So when we talk about server, so basically what is server? A server is a powerful computer or system that provides resources or data to other computers over a network. So server basically what it does, it's a service provider, right? So server provides the services to the client computers. So let's say when we talk about Windows Server operating systems are Windows 20, 2016, 2019 server, 2022 servers. Now the latest operating system for server is 2025. So server operating system can be server 2016. So we earlier we had to the 2012 2008 server also, but we can just give few examples. So server 2019 2022, and the latest one is 2025. So few roles and features are got added in our latest operating system, but the concept is same for all the server operating system. So when I talk about PC 123, these are my client machines, and client operating systems are Windows 10, 11. Earlier it was Windows 7, Windows 8, 8.1. Now the latest operating system is Windows 11, Windows 11. For example, when your laptop or PCs save a file or log into a company domain, it is communicating with server actually. So server usually run a specialized operating systems like Windows Server 16, 19, 22, and 2025. So basic example in organization, employees use Windows laptop as a client PCs, and central server manager use file printers, security, other stuff for Windows Server. So what is the uses of server actually? So server actually needed for authentication purpose. So user authentication. So server verifies the username and password. Let's say if user once try to log in this computer, it will go through the network and it will hit to your server, or you can say domain control server. We'll discuss about what is domain control, everything you will understand, and you will be able to understand each and everything even though you don't have any knowledge on Windows Server, what exactly Windows Server does, you will still understand. So basically server uses for user authentication. So let's say when user trying to log in this computer, user connect with via internet network, and the request goes to Windows Server, and server verifies the username and password, and it checks in the database, server database, and confirms, okay, so user one, its username and passwords are correct, and it's successfully authenticate to the user one so that he can log into this computer. Similarly, user 2, 3, 4, all the user accounts are available in database, server database. It verifies if the user account and passwords are correct, it authenticates and allow them to log in. So the very important part of Windows Server is Active Directory to manage user computers, policies, and resources, everything, or user objects, everything available in the Active Directory, where all your account security groups are available and it authenticate with your servers. Similarly, file sharing, print management, network management, name resolution, everything we can define in our servers. With the help of server, we can manage our computers. Even though if it is large number of computers, we can manage singly from the centralized server. So server is a centralized database where we can manage everything from one computer. So servers needs a domain controller to manage your accounts, authentication, your all the resources to communicate with each other. Then we need file server. So let's what else we need in server actually. So server, we need domain controller for user login purpose, or we can say it manages login users and logins. Then we use file server, domain controller, then file server. These are the roles we need to install in server, like file server, domain controller, print server. So these are the roles we need to install in your server so that it will allow you to manage those resources. So file server stores company documents. Print servers manages printers. Backup server will do backup of your data or protects company data. Likewise, application server will host business applications. That's where the server needed, guys, to manage your computers, make them work efficiently for your clients. So key benefits of Windows Server is it's a centralized management, better security, easy data sharing, backup and recovery, scalability of organization. In simple word, if you say a server is a centralized system that provides services such as authentication, file sharing, network and application hosting to multiple clients, computers in an organization. Now we'll quickly see our lab setup so that we can smoothly we can start our lab and we can uh, start this lab practice. So I have already opened my system information. So in my laptop, I'm using Lenovo laptop. You can use any laptop. Minimum 12 GB of RAM. If you have more than that, it's well and good actually. So minimum RAM capacity should be 12 GB of RAM so that we can create 3 to 4 virtual machines and we can utilize them for our Windows Server training. And if you're and also storage, at least we need 100 GB or at least 80 GB of storage required to complete this training, even though I have 74.6, which is more than enough. And I will also show you what are the ISO images are required for this training. So let's quickly check what are the images that we need. So since with this training we are going to cover in our Windows Workstation. So VMware Workstation 16.2.4 version I'm using. You can use any version, guys, but 16.2.4 is almost a latest version, so you can use it. I will in the description I'll give you the link to download VMware Workstation, and also I'll help you with the license key. So it's a free, of course, and you can utilize how long you want to use it. So it's completely free. So we need VMware Workstation. We need Windows Server ISO image. It can be 2025 or 20222, which is Windows 2022. We need a client machine, so Windows 10 or 11, and we would need and once you okay, so once you have all these images, you need to install your VMware Workstation. So just double click on VMware Workstation, click on yes. In my case, I have already installed it, so I'll just cancel this. One sec. So you need to just double click on it and just click on next, next, next. It will automatically install your Windows VMware Workstation Pro. I'm just going to cancel it, guys. It's a very simple process. You just need to click next, and it will install in your computer. So I'm just canceling it because I have already finished. I'll just show you. Once you install it, so I had already opened it. Let me open it again. So you will able to see this window. So it's completely empty. There is nothing in this. To install Windows Server, click on File, New Virtual Machines. Click Typical as a default option. Click on Next. So here you can select installer this image if you have ISO, if you want to load the operating system or image right away, or you can install it later also. So select, I'm going to select, I will install this operating system later. And later, once this VM created, I will load that operating system image and then we can turn on this VM. I am selecting Windows 16 server, guys. You can select any operating system here, but it should be Windows Server. Since we are going to install Windows Server, click Next. Now, location where you want to keep this operating system files and everything. I am going to select. So I have already created a folder called Do Not Touch, just because I don't want. So if you by mistake if you change or the files location or you delete any of the file, your operating system may not load. So that's where I have created a new file and give it a name as VMware Do Not Touch, so that while clean up my machine data, I will not touch this folder. And inside this folder, I will create server one, so that I will keep this virtual machine data to this folder only. This is how you can manage your data. Let's keep it as default and select a store virtual disk as a single file. So your virtual machine disk will be in one folder, which we have created, folder name called server one. Click on next and finish. Now, since this virtual machine doesn't have any operating system loaded or ISO image loaded, so I will, so RAM, 2 GB RAM default taken. If you want, you can change it as per your requirement. For our laptop configuration, we don't have much RAM capacity, so 2 GB is more than enough actually, and processor is fine. So now we will select ISO image, use ISO image file, browse wherever you have kept the image, and you have to load it. So I have kept inside the desktop file in ISO. Select the server image. This is my server image, guys, and I will also show you once this installation is started. I'll show you how you can download your Windows Server ISO images free of cost. Click on Open. OK. Now power on the virtual machine. So now you have to press space key in your keyboard and it will start loading your ISO image. Same way you can install your client machines, which is Windows 10 or 11 or any other virtual server or virtual machines. But make sure while installing you have to select the operating system correctly. If it is Windows servers, you can select any Windows Server operating system name. If it is client machines, you have to select Windows 10 or 11. Here by default you can select any language. Hope you know this part already. Click on install. So setup is starting now. Now here there are 4 additions. Let's select the desktop experience and click next. You have to accept the agree license terms and license. Here you have to select second option always, custom installation, and click on next. Now let's quickly check how we can install the operating systems ISO images, download the ISO images. You don't need to do anything, just type Windows Server download and select the first option or second option. For Windows Server 22 you can select this one. As you can see, there are multiple languages available. Select the first one for English language and click on ISO image download. Automatically it will allow you to download your operating system ISO image. Similarly for 2025, your latest operating system, click on this and click on 64 edition. Sometime it will ask you to uh, fill your details like your name, your email ID, or organization if it is small or large. Those details you have to give, and you can download your operating system ISO images. Similarly, for workstation, VMware Workstation, you can just simply type VMware Workstation 16.2.4. This is the version I'm using. You can type it. Click on the first link. Click on download. Here you can download. By clicking on download, you can download the VMware Workstation Pro. For license, simply you can go to browser and type in VMware Workstation. See, I have already typed it actually. So VMware Workstation Pro, you have to give a version name and select the first option, guys. And the first license key you can apply it. How you can apply this license once your installation done workstation? You have to go to help, click on license key, and you have to copy and paste and click OK. It will ask you to select OK. And see, it looks like the VMware Workstation is licensed now. You can verify also. You click on About VMware Workstation. As you can see, the license information status is shows licensed. This is how you will license your VMware Workstation and install it. So this server we will use for our domain controller. Similarly, let's create another virtual machine for our client machines. So similarly, you have to go to File, create new virtual machine, or also in your keyboard you can just simply type Control N. It will create same way from for your new virtual machine. Click next. I'll install operating system later. This time I'm gonna select Windows 10 and later because I'm going to install client machines, or you can say test machine. With that, we will communicate with the domain controllers or server, and we'll see how we can manage our users, groups, everything. Location again same under desktop files. Do not touch. So as you can see, we had created Windows Server file. Now we will create one more for client machine. Client one will give name. Click OK. Make sure you have selected the correct folder. OK, next. For client machine, we don't need much, so I'm gonna give 20 GB of space. Next. And if you click on customize hardware, we'll be able to change the RAM. So client PC, we don't need to give much RAM. Processor also we can keep it one, or okay, one. Click close, finish. Now similarly, we'll select network as a bridge network. So guys, make sure you are selecting network as a bridge network for all your computer. So bridge network is nothing but it's communicate your computers and servers like a LAN cable actually. So LAN connectivity. If you select net, it will communicate. It will not communicate because it is used. This net used to share the host IP address, and it will communicate with your computer IP or internet. So to get your internet access to the computer, you can select net, but it will not communicate with a server or computers which is hosted in your workstation. So select bridge and click bridge, and also we have to load the operating system image, guys. So click on browse. I would recommend you to follow the same process so that you won't face any issues. So again, I have kept it inside desktop and ISO image. I think this is my Windows ISO. Let's click on OK. Network, we have selected bridge, we have loaded the ISO image, click OK, and power on the computer. Yeah, this time it looks like loaded. Let's check what is the status of Windows Server. Okay, looks like it's booting. Starting services. Cool. Okay, installation is started. Click on next. Install now. We don't have any product key. You can just click on I don't have a product key and select Windows 10 Pro. You can select any of them. I have selected the latest one actually, Pro. Click on next. Access the license terms and conditions. Click on next. Again, you have to click on custom install, similarly as Windows Server, and you can click on next. Once these VMs are virtual machines are created, I will also show you how to install VMware tool and why we need VMware tool. Once its installation completed, let's wait. So basically what we are trying to do, we are creating a server, we are creating one of the PC. We can create more actually to with Windows 10 and 11 operating system, and then we'll see how exactly server these PCs are communicating with each other and how we can manage our all resources. So I'll pause this video. Okay, okay, great. So our Windows server, it is asking you to enter your password. So by default, this account will get created. So let's give a password. So this account is going to be your local account. Click on finish. Okay, so this server is ready now to log in. You have to enter the password that you have created just now. So Windows 10 also, okay, United States, click yes. So it's not just if you install the Windows Server, it'll start, you can start managing your accounts and everything. You will have to install certain roles. With that roles, your Active Directory will get installed, and then we should be able to manage all our accounts and computers. So for now, the server is installed. It's a fresh server. We will have to install roles also. So as you can see, my cursor is not moving properly, and if you click, it's taking some time, and it's not properly working. So whenever you install anything, any operating system in the workstation or VMware, you'll have to install a tool called VMware tool. So let's install that. You need to click on right click on this VM, install VMware tool. This network you can just click on next. No. Once you right click on install VMware tool, come here in File Explorer. So as you can see, it's taking time. So your VMware tool by default it is packaged with Workstation, which has been now attached to your disk actually, and you have to right click on and click on install run program from your media, or you can click on open autoplay. 64. Once this install, basically this installation will help you. So it's a package actually, it's a driver basically. So once this driver install, your functionality will be very good. It will install all the required drivers. Next, next, install. As you can see, all the drivers are getting installed. Okay, let's wait. See, as you can see, after this VMware tool installation, your functionality is now good. Even if you can see the display is resolution is changed with this VMware tool. So let's it's complete its process, and then I will show you what are the roles we can install on the server to make this all computers and accounts managed. So this is going to be my primary domain controller. So primary server to manage all the authentication and everything. Later on the class, we'll also look at site and services. Then we'll create one more domain controller. Then we'll see how that application happens between all the PCs and domain controllers. If one goes down, how it handles the queries and authentication, even though the primary server goes down. We'll see all this thing. So our server is now server operating system is installed and it's ready to use. Now this server will make a domain controller. So what is domain controller basically? A domain controller is a server that manages user authentication, security policy, and access resources in a network domain. So it runs the Active Directory Domain Services, which is ADDS, on Windows Server. In simple terms, domain controller equal to centralized authority that controls user logins and permission in a network. In simple example, in a company, 100 employees, instead of creating account on every computer individually, all users' accounts are stored in Active Directory on the domain controller. When a user logs in, user enters user and password, computers contact to the domain controller. So basically this server. If the user account and passwords are current and it's verified, so DC will verify the credential and access will be granted and user can log into this client machines. Okay, so let's log in. So still this server is just a server, not yet a domain controller because we have not installed any kind of roles now. To make this server as a domain controller, a centralized server, we'll have to install Active Directory domain and services roles. Looks like my Windows 10 machine is almost installed. This is again a local account. I'll just give something. Local user one, local user. Password I'm not gonna give anything. Let's skip next. So far we have created a virtual machine for Windows Server and client machine Windows 10. So in the next video we will install ADDS role, which is Active Directory Domain and Services role, and make this server as a domain controller so that it will manage all the authentication and Active Directory users and computer resources. Click on accept. Once the ADDS roles install, and we'll make this server as a domain controller. So basically we need to promote the servers to domain controller after ADDS role. So once the promotion is done, then only your Active Directory where we will create user accounts will get created, and with help of Active Directory we'll create certain OUs, then user account security groups, and then we'll will join this PCs, client PCs to our domain controller domain. Whatever domain we will give here, we'll join them. With help of that, this server will get communicated. So next video, the very first thing that we will do is we'll assign IP address to this primary server, create we'll install domain ADDS role and make them domain controller, and also we'll install domain name services, which is DNS and DSCP roles, and with that help we'll assign DSCP IP address to all our computers. So as you can see now, these computers are just the server. This server is not at a domain controller and there is no domain, you can see. So I'll just quickly show you. If you click on server, I have not even given any static IP. Its default IP has taken. So in the next video, we'll create a IP. We'll assign a static IP address and make this server as a domain controller. So you'll be able to see instead of workgroup, it will be domain, and there will be a domain name as well. We'll change the host name also. We'll see how we can change the host name and how we can uh, join this computer to our domain. Click on skip. So this server is now fresh server. There is no roles installed so far. Click on accept. So Windows 10 installation is little bit uh, long process, guys. So we'll have to wait till then. So looks like my Windows 10 is almost ready. So that's it for today's session. In this video, we have successfully created Server virtual machine, Windows Server 2022. We'll change the name later. So this is Windows Server 2022 actually. Let's check that as well. To check operating system, you can just simply type Win VER. So this is Windows Server 2022 edition. So far we have created server virtual machine and client virtual machine. So using VMware Workstation, and we have prepared the lab environment with Windows Server 2022 and a client machine Windows 10. This setup will help us to perform real world Windows Server configuration and testing in a controlled lab environment. In the upcoming session, we will start configuring the server roles, beginning with installing Active Directory domain services and promoting this server as a domain controller. If you found this session helpful, make sure you like these videos, subscribe to the channel, and share it with your other friends or colleagues who wants to learn Windows Server administration from scratch. Thanks for watching and see you in the next session.